Hi, this is me building a $3 million per year business in public. The way these videos always go is I start with some YouTube comment Q&A just to answer all your guys' questions, deliver some value. Then I do growth stats across my YouTube, my Instagram, and then all of my paid products. And then finally, I do a daily business improvement. Right now, I'm doing a Maker School, a community exclusive series. The whole idea is to reduce my churn on a $305,000 a month product. So let's head over to my main channel. We are just under 140,000 subs. Don't think I've seen something that statistically unlikely in a while. And this is the last question asked on my daily updates channel. Let's answer it. It's from Abhinav. He says, "Hey, Nick, I just booked my first sales call. Could you give me some tips on how I should approach it?" I would say the number one thing to keep in mind for your first few sales calls is that your job is not to sell at this stage. Your job is just to learn everything you can about the way that the prospect is running their business right now. And if you approach it from a learning perspective more so than a sales perspective, counterintuitively, the probability that you sell will go up. A lot of people just bust their load a little too early with the sales stuff, and they don't realize that, the best way to sell is to build some rapport and perceived authority. And the best way to do that is literally just paraphrase what the customer is saying to you in slightly different words. If somebody tells you that their sales funnel is this and that and that and that, you just say, "So that makes sense. Is your sales funnel kind of like this and that and that and that?" And then they go, "Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, you understand me. You're totally the right fit for the business." So just take it more as like a learning, take it more from like a learning perspective, take it more from like a curiosity perspective. If you ask questions and are genuinely curious, a lot of the time the probability that you close a deal will go up. And then, yeah, also use stuff like set expectations at the beginning of the call. Let them know that hey, I'm just going to learn some stuff about your business. The idea here isn't necessarily for us to arrive at like a firm decision by the end of the call, unless that's what you want. All I want to do is I want to see if I can help you. And, from the sounds of things I can, but I just wanted to ask you a couple of quick questions to verify that. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Now we're at the right frame. What made you respond to me in the first place? Why did you respond to my outreach or Upwork application or whatever? Okay, cool. Now that I know that, what exactly is it that you're looking for? Okay, great. So where's the customer coming from? Where are they going? You know what I mean? Just kind of almost like a doctor, I would say. Anyway, UV says, "I want to build an app like school in my country." Interesting. How would you approach building it? Should I use AI for that? Should I hire a developer? Thank you, bro. I think okay. So I know for sure I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't want to build an app like school or WAP, or I don't even know what Stan is, but I imagine it's another one of these community platforms. Just because what's the probability that's actually going to work out? To me, that's like an Uber style play. You're trying to build like a software platform, and software platforms have a very low probability of working. The way that I always treat this stuff, I don't think I've drawn a graph in this before. Okay, so I'm just going to try. We're going to try drawing a graph today. Nice, that actually wasn't super hard. How do I do this? I press L. So L lets me draw. Okay, cool. So if this is I don't know, let's say revenue, and then this is time. There are a bunch of different business models that you can pick, right? And so I love the agency business model. And you're probably like, why do you love the agency business model? Well, the reason why is because you can actually start making revenue, very quickly. Then it kind of peters out, right? Because it becomes difficult to scale and stuff. Now, contrast this with something like what our lovely friend UV over here wants to build. He wants to build like a SaaS app, kind of like WAP or School, like a community platform. Well, typically the way that these work is for the very beginning of this, there's a lot of time and energy you need to put into build the product and make it good. And then you need to do things like bug fixes and updates. It's like a product that you're building, right? It's something like that. You have to invest a lot of time, energy, and you got to hire developers. You got to do product market fit. You got to figure out how to, I don't know, market it and how to sell it and blah, blah, blah. And so, by the time that you get to the part where it actually explosively takes off, which might be over here, I mean, we might be talking like a few years here. Maybe this is like a year. That's like 2 years. Whereas in the agency, in the first 3 months, you've already made I don't know, 50K a month or something. I feel like you're really, really good at what you're doing and you follow everything that I say, exactly. I won't say that that's a super incredibly far off number to achieve. Contrast that with this, where you don't hit the 50K until almost 2 years. I don't know. It just doesn't really make much sense for me, as somebody that cares more about short-term money, to be honest, than all the long-term Uber style sellability. Also, the probability of being successful with a big Uber style or SaaS app or community is much lower than the probability of like being kind of successful with an agency. And like to me, I guess probably just because of my risk aversion, like I'm not, I not very, believe it or not, I'm actually quite risk averse. This stuff never really made too much sense for me. So just wanted to let you guys know that I wouldn't do it myself, but if I were to have to do it, how would I approach building it? Should I use AI for that? Should I hire a developer? No, I'd probably take like a forum code base and then I'd try and fork it. Maybe there's like an open source community platform. The Extensible Community Framework by Flarum. So looks like we got a bunch of forum posts here. So maybe you start with the forum posts. Yeah, maybe you start with something like Flarum. So what I would do is I'd go find like an open source template, basically. And then once I have the open source template, I'd verify that like, I could actually build something. And I mean, like, depends on your level of technical expertise. I'd probably try and build it myself to start, just like the wireframe of it. Make sure that like, I can do things like I click a button, I write add post, it adds it to some REST via some REST API to like my database. That's just like my own way. And then, yeah, obviously use AI for it, but don't use AI to like build the whole thing. You don't just say, hey, like, can you build the whole thing? And then go with that because it's not going to do a very good job. You obviously need some. If you want to build like a good Uber, like one of the prerequisites is you need to be like at least an okay developer, I would say. Builder Zutorial says, I pray I'm first, as usual, EXP farming, working in the background. Nice, man. I am EXP farming as well. Our London says, Yo, Nick, love your radio voice. I use the Daily Channel as a tactical podcast for building my agency. Oh, sweet. A question, how can we keep you motivated sharing this useful knowledge as generously as you do it now? Honestly, Matt, I don't think you're going to have to do anything here. I'm just going to keep on doing this one way or another. It doesn't really matter. Like for me, believe it or not, I've come over the last 140 days of doing daily updates consistently, except for one day when I recorded it, but I didn't actually post it. I've come to realize that for me, it's more like, it's almost like a form of daily accountability. And then it just also kind of wakes me up in the morning. So like I will continue sharing knowledge generously. For whatever reason, it looks like I'm capable of like keeping up with it, despite the fact that I'm at like 10x the sub count now versus what I was at the beginning. Crazy. I don't know if I'm like responding to questions faster or something. Jack Smith said, I really appreciate you, Arlon, thank you. Jack says, I tried using your app if I 30% off code. It said it is expired. Should it still be working? Yeah, I sent the lady that I do the partnerships with like 2 follow-ups. It's been like a week now. I haven't heard anything back. So I'm just going to start emailing everybody at Appify being like, hey, can you just give me codes? So I'm going to make that a note of mine today. So send messages to, let's say, 3 Appify team members asking for code. For whatever reason, they don't want to give me a code. That would be very silly on their part, just given the amount of business I've driven them. But, I can't force companies to do stuff like that. So no, it shouldn't still be working. I think like we had another 300 redemptions or something. I'm just going to drink my coffee while I read this question. In a nutshell, Sahil says, I don't have money to buy ChatGPT's paid plan. Can you give me directions on how to continue your learning? One simple piece of advice to be grateful. Yeah, no problem, man. I feel like you're getting in the way. All you really need in order to make this work is $5. If you have $5, you will have enough API credits to work for months, assuming you're not using like GPT 4.5 or something. So just get $5 worth of API credits, man. That's all you need, because this isn't like a ChatGPT subscription. This is just the GPT API. This is like the OpenAI API. You just head over here, platform.openai.com. Got to log in, of course. Let me just do this because I have actually leaked my OpenAI stuff so many times now. It's not even funny. Oh, sorry. Now I have to log in with some goddamn code. Goddamn security. I can't believe you. Okay. This is the OpenAI API. It's different from what else you're doing. You can also claim free tokens here on traffic that you share with it. So I don't even know if you need $5 in credits, but you don't like need anything but the $5 in credits. And I think you can start claiming stuff. So listen, I think you're trying to solve the wrong problem is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Ziad thanks me. Got some good high profile leads in Egypt. Okay, very cool. Very cool. Do you think I should pause the LinkedIn outreach until I close one of the clients? I don't even have a Sales Nav subscription yet, so closing them would help with that. I feel like I should pause outreach and wait till I do it right, because I've been facing challenges with building a lead list from scraping Apollo. Apologize for the lengthy comment. Thanks for everything. No, man, you definitely shouldn't stop the outreach. You should always continue the outreach. The outreach is more important than everything else that you're doing. The outreach is the reason why you've generated these opportunities in the first place, right? So if you've just done something that has like, generated all of the stuff that you're doing now, like why would you stop that thing? You don't have that guaranteed. Your outreach may stop working tomorrow. Like, don't you want to squeeze this as much as you can? Listen, I understand your idea about wanting to like do it right or whatever, but this to me sounds like a false equivalency. It's not that you stop the outreach and do it right, or you keep the outreach going and then you do it wrong. You can absolutely have both. You don't have to send a million things a day. You could send like 10 for the next week as your capacity goes down because you are building this project or fulfillment or whatever. And yeah, like if you're really running into a big time sink with the outreach that you're doing, I would probably, the biggest thing for outreach is literally just the amount of time that it passes passively. It's not like it's obviously the number of people you reach out to, but like every person you reach out to, it takes time for them to get back to you. It takes time for your system to work. It takes time to get to the right leads. So as long as it's on and then that time passes anyway, you will start accumulating results. So just never turn it off. Even if it's at some low level, keep it on 24/7, and then you will begin accumulating said results. And if it's taking you a lot of time, then I would revisit like the systems that you are using to do this outreach. Not like the systems, not like the automation systems, but just like the informal manual systems. Like how are you getting the data from the leads? Can you systematize that process? You could probably economize the amount of time it takes for you to do this right now by like 500% or something, which is the thing you should focus on, not turning it off. Excuse me. How do I give social proof, gain trust from my clients? And after signing my first client, can you give me the process on delivery agreement and payment? How can I easily find clients and getting leads? I want to get some initial clients. Thanks once again. So I should note that you're not going to, I just got to turn off my Airbnb's AC because it keeps on coming on and off. So I should note that you're not going to like find clients easily. It is simple to find clients, but it is not easy, to be clear. So things that are simple are not necessarily things that are easy. This is a great example of that. You're probably gonna have a tough time doing this for sure. Not to scare you, it's just client acquisition is the toughest part of this. So maybe focus less on the easy part and just, the simple part. So how do you give social proof to people? You need to have some sort of like demonstrated revenue or savings success. I usually recommend having it of the form, I generated X for Y using Z, because that front loads the benefit. So I generated $153,821 for a B2B SaaS company using CRO systems. That's a great example. I generated $92,000 a month for a content rating business using content production systems. That's another good example. Stuff like this. You get like 3 or 4 of these like one-line case studies, and then you put them on like your website, you put them on your Upwork profile, and then also you just like remember them. Oh, that reminds me of a content writing company I was working with. They were asking for something really similar. We ended up scaling them to $92,000 a month. Do you want me to show you how? And it's like, okay, cool. You're really going to like this. It's pretty interesting. So then you share your screen and then run them through what the system is. So if you're at the start line, you probably don't have this stuff directly for automation, but you may have experience in other industries that you can bring over here. And then if you don't have that, then don't get me wrong. Like most people do start at the start line. Rocket scientists didn't build a perfect rocket the first time, nor did a heart surgeon do his heart surgery perfectly the first time. Like everybody's got to start somewhere, right? So if you have nowhere to start, then you just say stuff like, I built a cold email system that did X, Y, and Z thing, and then you just build it for yourself. That's sort of how you bootstrap it. Yeah, and then delivery agreement and payment. I mean, I do talk about this pretty often on this channel. Delivery is just you build it in their own workspace. Agreements, I'm not a big fan of agreements. I usually just do some sort of proposal with like very minimal legalese. Payment, I usually just bundle it in with the proposal. So they deal with the legalese, they deal with the proposal, and then I get the payment, and I do it all in one, as opposed to, me having to go back and forth and send them shit and whatnot. Okay, Daz says, misphrased my last question. We see a lot about generating clients or go, but the deliverable would be nice to see. I've seen your watch me build every few times. It's lovely to see the actual onboarding with the deliverable of a lead gen system for a client. I think the deliverable is abstract for a lot of people. double the lead gen phase, but zooming on the deliverable stage would be hella valuable. I'll keep on grinding, learning a ton from you. Yeah, the thing is, I got to be careful about like what it is that I share for free, because the more stuff I share for free, just to be frank, the um, lower the perceived value of joining one of my like paid products. So like I give away a lot of stuff for free, obviously, and that's good. But what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to conceptually divide it where like the AI and automation stuff and like the systems and all that, the builds, like I give those away 100% for free. And then if you want to see stuff like what you're describing, like if you want to see sales calls and stuff like that, then you got to join one of the paid communities. And in that way, like the paid communities is strictly about monetization, which is a B2B problem, which allows me to justify the investment that you make and then immediately return it to you in some way, which obviously allows me to make way more money. And then I think it's just like a funner problem to solve. It's like how to make other people money as opposed to like how to deal with like node debugging. And then, you obviously, yeah, you get to buy into it and stuff like that. So like if you wanted to join Make Money with Make, for instance, you would see actual sales calls. I would like build systems for the client that I just sold, for instance. Like it's much more, it's like much more concrete. It's higher level as well, but it's also much more concrete. And I'll be adding more stuff like that to Maker School as well. But yeah. Hey, Nick, not sure if my message I sent about a week ago was missed. Would appreciate if you search the comments by my name. Thanks. No problem. Search the comments by name. Well, I've actually never done this before. Story bump. Starting out in the space. Oh yeah, 2 weeks ago, wanted to get your take on building authority and trust. I built two projects, custom coded version like Opus Clip, down the capital, some pivoting in the automations as a service, story bump, YouTube channel commenting were fully automated through a repurposing tool I built myself. What do we got here? Oops.
Welcome to Story.
Do not want to turn that on. Cool. So this reminds me a lot of like Redditology. This is really cool. Okay. Yeah, this is like great. I really like this. Solid work, man. Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course mention it. Yeah, I mean, like, keep in mind that it takes you like 3 seconds to mention it. Like, I don't even think this is really a question worth asking. Not to, obviously, all questions are worth asking depending on the person. But from now on, just know that if you have some sort of social proof, like if you have something cool that you built, you should just mention it all the time. All the time. Just mention all the cool stuff you build all the time. Like your choice here is like, do I mention this or do I mention nothing? It's like, no, mention this for sure. Always, 24/7. If you built a cool platform, people should know about it. If you've gotten a client, people should know about it. If your choice is sharing social proof versus not sharing social proof, you should always be sharing social proof, and you should never, ever, never be, I guess, worried about doing so. Okay, so that's that. Why don't I now answer the real question on everybody's minds, which is, how much has Nick grown in the last 24 hours? Well, this channel's definitely hit 140K subs now, 140.17. So my main channel grew by 829 subs. The daily updates channel looks like it grew by 40 subs. And then my Instagram channel grew by, looks like we just went up to 2,743. So this had a big spike, 202, sorry. And I'm not entirely sure why. Now, I've started tracking Maker School churn, obviously. Looks like we're at 23.56%. So have we seen any movement statistically in the last few days? 23.69 plus 23.56 plus 23.41 divided by 3, 23.55. So technically speaking, rolling 3-day average is 23.55. This is 23.69. This is lower than that. And this is right around that average. So have we gone down? I mean, like, technically we've gone down from a couple days ago, a little bit. This is 0.14%. And if I could somehow extrapolate that movement, it would be a percentage churn over 7 days. I don't know if that's true, and I don't really know how school does their churn math, unfortunately, so got no clue if that's actually accurate. I'm really dropping the ball here on this freaking community exclusive thing. I ended up with some stuff I had to do yesterday that got in the way of me creating the community exclusive that I wanted to. I ended up just creating 3 cold email campaign roasts. And like that worked and stuff, but it's a refresh, It's not like a new post. So it's cool. Anyway, I'm just going to let a bunch of people know. Uh, yeah, I'm just gonna let a bunch of people know my thoughts on stuff, and I'll like respond actively. I did respond to a bunch of posts from the welcome thread, and I realized that my dumbass had missed the welcome thread. Because I have two ways that you can introduce yourself in the group. You can do so in the welcome thread, or you could do so in a post, top level post. And I've just been going through all the top level posts and being like, hey, what's going on? Like, really happy to have you. Super excited. Dude, I love your background. No way. You're in XYZ field. And like, learning about the people that chose to pay me money. But I just forgotten about the welcome thread, because usually the people in the welcome thread, they're like a little more afraid to like share themselves as a top level post for whatever reason. And, usually it's just a one line like, hello, excited to be here or something. And it's like, how much can you really dive into there? Whereas the people with the top level posts, they go in a lot more detail. And then also, I just don't see them because it just wasn't part of my daily work stack. So really stupid of me. And I bet you that's led to a few percentage points of decreased, increased churn. Like, I bet you me not doing this reliably has led to at least a 1% increase in my churn. And a 1% increase from like 21% to 19% is, I don't know, let's see, 5% of 1.5 mil, I think. Is that right? 5% of $1.5 million, so $75,000. So I think I lost $75,000 by just not responding to that, which is stupid. Anyway, okay, so yeah. Let me just look at what's on the queue for the Maker School post schedule. I got systems to sell today, where I'm going to scrape Maker School for the last 20 wins post, and then I'm going to compile into a simple list for people, and then I'm going to discuss. Then I'm going to do launching cold email in 14 minutes. So I'm going to launch another cold email campaign using pre-warmed, do it in 14 minutes, blast to 5K people, follow up. I'll create a killer AI automation agency website, again, using one of those simple no-code builders, sneaky ways to acquire social proof, daily client update structure. Then I'll do a refresh at 25 minutes of me finding upward jobs to apply to. This is going to move over here. And then what I ended up doing was, I think I posted this on the 19th. This is now the 22nd. So I should post this on the 22nd. Actually, sorry, I didn't. I posted this on the 21st. Yeah, I screwed up because I let it go 2 days. Or was it the 20th? 22 hours ago. So no, this would be firmly on the 21st. God damn, that's annoying. Yeah, so I had 4 days instead of 2 day gap there. So I think I should post this today realistically. And then I should post this 24th. We're going to have to just like adjust these due dates. 28th, 30th, and then this can be July 1st, which is fine. Okay. Not the end of the world. It's pretty reasonable right now. Listen, this is all just me procrastinating the thing of like actually changing Maker School. So I am also doing 15 minutes a day of going into and reading through Maker School and all of the threads and then updating them and making them better. Have I been doing this? I think I have desktop 1. Yes, I do. Okay, so these are all of the tabs open that I am editing. And so anything that is remaining open here are things that I need to like spend more time to go back through. I don't even know if you guys could see this screen anymore because I'm on a different desktop. I'm not really sure how that works, but yeah. So suffice to say that I had this big stack of like Maker School pages that I need to go through, and then I just need to rewrite. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite them all first, and then after I'm done rewriting them all, then I'm going to go in and then I'm going to record videos for them when I get back home in a few days. And then I'll publish like V2 of Maker School with like updated stuff. It's going to take me probably like 2 or 3 days to do it. That's probably the biggest churn reduction that I could do. And then, I mean, if I reduce the churn 5% again, then I will make myself like something like $400,000. So, and that's like today in expected value over the course of the next 5 or 6 months. But then if I continue to do so, like every month, keep it at 17%, then I make more. So yeah, okay, I'll leave it there. Thank you very much for watching as per usual. Looking forward to it. Rock on.